follow up some of those lines of question from Sharon Dowie and go back to the point about written authority or not written authority, and the difference between instruction from your sole shareholder and written authority. I mean, to all intents and purposes, it was equivalent, wasn't it? Because your advice was being overridden.
Our advice was the preferred option was to retender, as Erik said in his letter, sorry, in his email. And I think some evidence has been given, well, that was 2 weeks before we got to a final position with CBC and FMEL, and therefore the matters had resolved themselves to our satisfaction. That is not the case. That was why the risk letter went along with the submission from Transport Scotland, and that referred again to Erik's email of September, because we were still very far away from what is the market standard builder's refund guarantee. Yeah, and you know, and there was no recommendation contained in those papers from CMAL.
Thanks. Mr. Østergaard, do you want to come in at this point?
Just to supplement what Morag is saying, when you look at what is written in section 617, then as explained in the risk paper, CMAL were not content with the final draft contracts. In these circumstances, the ministerial approval process was not normal. CMAL made no recommendation to Transport Scotland to the minister. Now, when I heard Roy Brannan's evidence, he stated, as far as I recall, that CMAL was content with the contract, and we were not. But the combination of the undertakings that was given to us as a company by ministers, combined with the end contents of the contract, made it up. It basically was back-to-back seen from our perspective in terms of guarantees. So stating that we were content with the contract is not correct. We were not, and that was clearly expressed also in the email that was submitted to board members and members of Transport Scotland at the time.
And we would not have proceeded had we not had
the undertakings
contained in that letter.
So again, just for the record, you mentioned about evidence we've received which suggested that Mr. Østergaard, your letter was 2 weeks, I think it was 12 days, before the decision was taken by ministers. But his submission says that while Mr. Østergaard, the email may have expressed your frustration, the email makes clear that it dated from 2 weeks earlier, it was 12 days, and before the latest round of negotiations. The Auditor General's report does not make that fact clear, and it could be taken to read as a final position. But you're telling us this morning that was the final position of the board.
Yes, because the mitigation did not address the key concern in Erik's email, which was we do not have a 100% builder's refund guarantee. And that's why that letter was referred to again in the submissions that we made.
So, Mr. Østergaard, I mean, according to one biography I've read of you, I think it was when you were appointed to the board of the Isle of Man Steam Packet Company, you're described as possessing, I quote, extensive experience with a number of European shipping concerns in a career that has spanned over 30 years in shipping. Have you ever known a ship to be built without a builder's refund guarantee?
Not that I recollect.
Okay.